So I just got done checking out the new psychological thriller Don't Worry Darling. It's directed by Olivia Wilde with a screenplay by Katie Silberman and based on a story by Carrie Van Dyke. It stars Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, and Olivia Wilde. The first thing I want to talk about is what this is getting critically on Rotten Tomatoes. It's getting a 38, okay? And I'm not saying this is the greatest movie ever, but whoever the critics are that are giving it this low a score so that it's getting a 38 on Rotten Tomatoes should seriously be ashamed of themselves, because there's no reason this movie should be anywhere near that low unless these people are not voting and not putting a score based on the movie and the merits of the movie and the quality of the movie and the performances, but instead because of the bullshit in the media that has to do with people's personal lives, the whole drama soap opera bullshit that's going on behind the scenes. And that should have nothing to do with what you put as a critic a score of a movie, what you think of a movie critically, okay? If you're just a fan and you want to let that stuff bother you, or you don't want to see a movie because of that or whatever, that's fine. That's your own personal taste. I'm not saying you shouldn't let that sway you one way or the other. That's your own decision. I am blown away that this movie is getting a 38. Because it is not like this perfect movie by any means. But this is a really good movie, well above average. And an average would be 50. This is getting a 38, okay? I'm not saying I would give it in the 90s, but I would give it in the high 70s, low 80s, like twice what it's getting. It's seriously something that critics out there should be embarrassed of, because this is a real shame. And Olivia Wilde, regardless of what you think of her as a person or the things she's done, to be honest, I try to sway away from all that stuff because I don't give a shit about that. That's their own personal bullshit that has nothing to do with the art, okay? With the art that is on the screen. And she should be proud of this job she did, because this movie, she really directed the shit out of this. So let me get more into the movie after I had to rage on that a little. So to get more into the movie, it is definitely not what I would call a horror movie, but it's very much a true blue psychological thriller. There's a definite thriller vibe throughout this whole movie that has a lot of intense moments, a lot of really mysterious elements. It's a real fun psychological thriller that has you guessing all the way till pretty much right in the final, like deep into the final act, is when you finally figure out what is going on here. Also, I'm not saying it's the most original story ever, but it's definitely not cookie cutter. It is not exactly anything that we've seen before, not exact anyway, but it does in a lot of ways remind me of a Twilight Zone type of element to it. Now, it does feel like a movie. It's not like I'm saying it feels like it should be an episode and it's stretched into a movie. No, I mean, it feels like a movie. I'm just saying it has a very Twilight Zone-ish type of creepy thriller vibe to it.
The one thing they ask of us is to stay here, where it's safe.
The acting, especially from Florence Pugh, is outstanding. But Olivia Wilde also gives a really, really strong performance in this. Harry Styles, he's all right. I mean, you could tell he's not really an actor per se, especially when he's up against Florence Pugh. But honestly, for not someone that's not like a seasoned career actor, I think he did a pretty damn good job in this. There was never a point where I personally was feeling like he was pulling me out of the movie. But Florence Pugh, she does not get enough credit in my opinion right now. She is one of the strongest actors going right now in Hollywood. She's phenomenal. I really enjoy her in everything I've seen. Even if it's a movie like Black Widow that I wasn't crazy about, her performance was strong. And once again, she's very strong in this movie. But this movie looks amazing. There is so much detail put into this, and it just looks glorious, man. I mean, just the color and everything about this 1950s world that they put you in is meticulously done and just looks fantastic. I also really enjoyed the pacing of it, even though I do feel like they held on a little bit tight for maybe a little too long to what the secret was. I feel like they could have given you a little more before they did, but I do really like how it built the anticipation. So when you finally did figure out what was going on, it did feel rewarding. And it was pretty cool too, because there was a couple times when you kind of thought you knew what was going on, and then it would kind of pull back just a little bit, and then eventually it got there. But there was a couple times when you're like, okay, I kind of think I know what's going on, and then it would be like, no, actually you don't. And it would, another little wrinkle. But I didn't feel like it left any holes. I feel like it did have a nice conclusion to the end, and you really did kind of get a good feel for what the whole story and kind of the whole big picture situation. It is much more of a love story, though, than what I was expecting. There is this really kind of sweet love story between Harry Styles' character and Florence Pugh. Before, of course, things kind of go off the rails and it gets twisted and stuff. But for the most part, for most of the movie, it's just a really kind of, they had pretty good chemistry on screen. And you did feel... It did feel believable as this, sweet, loving couple. Just in general, I thought this whole cast did a great job. They all really felt like there was real chemistry for the most part, and you could definitely buy them as a group of friends. But it is very much a thriller mystery that I think you could definitely have fun with. This is once again one of those things that I think most of you probably already know this, but it just proves you can't really listen to Rotten Tomatoes. I mean, you can kind of get an idea sometimes, but these critics, man, I don't know what they're smoking, because a lot of times some really solid movies they give horrible scores to. I really don't get it. So all I'm saying is, not that you might love this movie, I don't know, everybody's got different taste. But in my opinion, this is a movie definitely worth checking out. If you're someone that enjoys psychological thrillers with lots of mystery and intrigue that have really, really well done acting and just a really solid little story, then I definitely think you should check this movie out. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons, because you guys matter so much to me. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. I will see you guys next time.